So I was having this conversation with somebody before the show, my boy Jeremy, and we were talking about, I gave him this scenario, and I said, take three teams, okay? I said, let's say you take three teams that have been very good, that have been playoff caliber teams. Maybe one hasn't, but if you take those three teams and they all have a brand new head coach, a brand new offensive coordinator, and a brand new defensive coordinator. And then you take a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 2 or 3 years consecutively. They haven't been very good on one side of the football. They haven't been healthy, maybe at the most important spot in football. But yet, coming into the 2026 season, they will be the only team in their division that has the same head coach, the same offensive coordinator, and the same defensive coordinator. Do you take that team in the continuity at those three spots over the teams that have presumably been better and that have been better for the most part, but yet have all new head coach, all new offensive coordinators, and all new defensive coordinators? And see, that's the question I wanted to pose. And that's a real scenario in the AFC North, and that's why I call it the brand new AFC North, because the Cincinnati Bengals are a team that have missed the playoffs 3 consecutive seasons. Haven't been to the show since 2022. And yet they have a quarterback in Joe Burrow that a lot of people consider to be elite, even though if you watch this show, I think he's good. He is not elite as of yet because he has not acquired elite opportunities in terms of winning a Super Bowl, winning an MVP, things of that nature. But Joe Burrow is very good. But they've been very inconsistent on the defensive side of the ball. They've run through a couple of coordinators as well. But yet now, these last 3 seasons, even though they haven't been good, they're the only team in the AFC North that has the same head coach in Zach Taylor, the same offensive coordinator Dan Pitcher, and Al Golden coming back as defensive coordinator. They have continuity. So in that respect, I think Cincinnati has a leg up on the other 3 teams in the division. We'll have to see what they do with it. But that brings me to the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Browns. So in the AFC North, I think there's precedents that have been set in the NFL all the time. And I don't want to say what's happened in the AFC North in the past 10 months has been unprecedented, but it's definitely been weird, and it's definitely been exciting if you're somebody who follows the game like I do. Pittsburgh and Baltimore have both moved on from what are going to be likely first ballot Hall of Fame coaches in Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh, respectively. And it's not because the teams were bad. It's because the organizations are so buttoned up, and it's because the organizations are so good that they have a standard that they feel needs to be met. And I understand that. So both moved on from their coach. And then you have the Cleveland Browns. And see, with Cleveland, I think a lot of people will look at the results of Cleveland. They'll look at the Deshaun Watson contract, which was horrible, based on what he has not given them and based on the guaranteed money that they gave him. They look at the situations off the field. They look at what's happened on the field in terms of not having a quarterback, and they think Cleveland is the worst team in the league. And I'm just telling you that the Cleveland Browns can easily become what the Chicago Bears were last year. The Baltimore Ravens are a perennial favorite in the AFC North and in the AFC. We don't know what the Pittsburgh Steelers will be, but I like the moves that they've made. And if I'm talking to you guys with Cleveland, think about what they've done. So Todd Monken's coming in, is going to be the offensive play caller, and they've got Travis Switzer and then Mike Rutenberg as a defensive coordinator. But listen to this. Titus Howard, who's the left tackle, got him from Houston. They signed Zion Johnson as well and Elton Jenkins, a longtime Packer. Do you know what those 3 individuals have in common? They're all offensive linemen. What was the first thing Ben Johnson did when he went to Chicago? And I've talked about this in nausea. He went and got 3 offensive linemen. Well, why did he do that? Because he wanted to establish something. Do you know what the Browns already have? The Browns have Quinshon Judkins. The Browns have Dylan Sampson. The Browns have a very good defense, and they also added A.J. Epinesa from Buffalo. So it's not like Cleveland has been far off. And I really think that they nailed it in the draft. I think they nailed it in the draft last year. So the Cleveland Browns are on the cusp of being a team with a brand new head coach, a brand new offensive coordinator, a brand new defensive coordinator, that if they can get the quarterback spot right, and by right, I simply mean somebody who's not terrible. I don't care if it's Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, or Dylan Gabriel. Whomever becomes the starter, as long as they don't tear it down in terms of turning the ball over consistently, Cleveland can be a team that can compete for a division title in 2026. When it comes to Baltimore, the Ravens are always phenomenal. And I think that's what's got a lot of people looking at them sideways, because nobody cares what Baltimore does in the regular season anymore. Nobody does. Now, I do, because I think the regular season builds up to the postseason each year. So everything's different. But I understand when you have somebody like Lamar Jackson. I understand when you have guys like Kyle Hamilton and Malachi Starks on the defensive side of the ball, that it matters. I understand that it matters. And the addition of Trey Hendrickson doesn't help this narrative at all. Remember, they were in the running to get Max Crosby. We understand that deal fell through, but they were able to get Trey Hendrickson. That's huge. because they got the quote-unquote closer that they're looking for. And that's what Baltimore feels like they need. So the Ravens are always a potential favorite. In the Pittsburgh Steelers case, Mike McCarthy is somebody who I think is a very good head coach. And I also think that the Pittsburgh Steelers and getting guys like Jamel Dean and Michael Pittman Jr. have done great in the offseason. So now my question is, in this new look AFC North, whom do I give the benefit of the doubt? Do I give it to the Steelers, the Browns, and also the Ravens? More the Ravens and the Steelers, though, who have been perennial playoff teams. I know Baltimore missed it last year, but Lamar Jackson was hurt the majority of the season. Do I give them the benefit of the doubt? Do I give the Cleveland Browns the benefit of the doubt because they're somebody who I think they're young? I think they have star-studded power, of course, on the defensive side of the football, led by Myles Garrett, and they have access to very good young talent. We've seen it happen in the NFL. We've seen it happen in Houston. They just need solid quarterback play. Or am I giving it to the Cincinnati Bengals, who have been the team who has missed the playoffs 3 consecutive years, yet they have cohesion at head coach, offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator? Whatever it is, the AFC North is a fresh division. Brand new faces, brand new circumstances, brand new opportunities, but I think it'll be the same thing. Very physical, and to the end of the season, you're not going to know who wins this division. That's why I'm so intrigued by what's happening in Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Baltimore, and also Cincinnati.